Welcome to the Megaport live session. My name is Dave Sloan, and today I'm going to run through the Megaport Internet proposition with a quick demo on deploying Megaport Internet within our portal. And this is the part of the ongoing series of the Megaport live tech drop-ins. Okay, but to level set, we just talk a bit about Megaport's proposition so you can understand the context of the internet services that we're going to deliver. Megaport's proposition is based on the concept of network as a service, or NAS. And NAS provides the network in a way that's much more aligned with cloud subscription models, with services being on demand, uh, available on demand, and in near real time. So, and you'll see this on the demo that I'm about to do shortly. NAS provides the underlying building blocks for organizations like yourselves to deploy a whole host of technical solutions to match your operational business requirements. So this internet component is just a part of the ongoing series. So we do lots of other services as well, and it's well worth watching some of these sound bites to catch up on those types of services. So what makes our NAS platform different? Well, first of all, it's our reach. Megaport's NAS is part of a virtualized global ecosystem built on pre-existing hardware. And this gives you the ability to deploy capacity to all the well-known cloud service providers and giving access to thousands of IT-based services, as well as having connectivity in 1,000 data centers across the globe. And all this can be done in near real time in a software-defined manner. NAS, the service that we offer, has very predictable performance. It's like having your own private fiber lines. Your data travels on our private global network with no internet within the core. And all these components can then be linked together with virtualized network cross connects. We call them VXCs, but they are MPLS layer 2 pseudo wires. And this has the added benefit of making it highly secure and private. Also in NAS, you only pay for the capacity you wish to deploy. As it's pre-built and virtualized, you can scale that capacity up and down on demand, and you no longer have to worry about traffic spikes or wasted capacity. So this ensures that your end users get a great performance, great application performance. The Megaport on-demand components are very versatile, allowing you the ability to launch virtual cross-connects across our network to create internet connections to things like physical ports within data centers, to connect to things like virtual routers and virtual firewalls, and virtualized SD-WAN elements all within our core. And this facilitates connections to branch locations or to those critical remote resources that you are looking to access. This makes our NAS service very cost effective. This can all be designed and deployed and be fully operational in minutes and be available for only the term that you need. And this reduces your upfront infrastructure costs to zero, as your Megaport network assets are virtual and require no capital investment or hardware provision. And you can design, deploy, manage and monitor it all from our single portal. It's point and click. And that you can also bring your own cloud service keys for cloud service providers. So this makes establishing private connectivity really simple. But for those with more sophisticated needs, both Terraform and API build calls are available for a whole host of deployment and management scenarios. So here's a quick snapshot to show our global reach. You can access Megaport in over 1,000 data centers across the globe. And please note there are two types of locations where you can connect to Megaport's network. There's the installed location, and these contain Megaport hardware. And then there's an enabled location. These locations share the same campus or metro area as a Megaport installed location. Megaport hardware is not located within an enabled location facility, but you can access it through private intra-campus or intra-metro cross-connects. And as you can see, we have strong presence in NAM, EMEA, and APAC, as well as having connectivity solutions in Latin America, in Mexico, and Brazil. Okay, so now on to Megaport Internet. And here's a quick overview of the connectivity options available for integrating Megaport Internet services. So the very first one here is the port, which is the blue symbol on the screen here. And this is a physical connection point to within one of these data centers, these 1,000 data centers we talked about. You connect your infrastructure via a cross connect with capabilities ranging from 1 gig through to 100 gigs. And these ports are available, as I say, in 1,000 data centers globally, and they're ready for immediate use. The green device, the MCR, the Megaport Cloud Router, this is a virtual layer 3 routing device represented as a simplified VRF. It enables seamless traffic exchange between 2 or more cloud environments. You can have internet connectivity into it in 90 locations. It has rudimentary ACLs and IP prefix filtering capabilities, so it can handle firewalling to a certain extent up to layer 4. And all this without requiring physical infrastructure. It acts as a transit point at the edge for multi-cloud or hybrid deployments. And then finally, there's the Megaport Virtual Edge, the red device. The MVE, as we know it, creates a virtual point of presence. It's on demand with the capability of loading virtual network functions. This allows you to deploy things like SD-WAN gateways, virtual routers, and firewalls using all your own licenses just within minutes. And this also has a coverage of around 90 global locations. And MVEs are ideal for extending your network to the edge and bridging private and public routing domains together securely. So what do we offer with our internet proposition? So it's immediately scalable and orderable from 20 megabits to 10 gigabits with larger bandwidths available on request. Flexible terms including committed bandwidth on term and increased capacity available by the hour for peaks in internet traffic offer some really great flexible financial solutions. All of this is fully deployable via our portal or via API and Terraform. And our standard service deploys using static routing with a single /31 IPv4 address I should say, a /64 IPv6 address. A simple, easy to set up method ideal for companies small and large and requiring predictable networks. For the more sophisticated users, you can bring your own PI space and advertise this using BGP, including downstream communities. And we offer a range of resiliency options available to improve availability and your business continuity. We can provide additional IP addresses and allow the use of local private AS, which means that you can still use BGP even if you don't have your own PI allocation. So now we'll jump onto the Megaport portal and you can see these services in action. Let's just go to services here. So as you can see, I've built a port in Germany, in Frankfurt, Equinix FR5. I've built an MCR in London, in LRH20, in the United Kingdom. And I've built a MVE in Ashburn, in Virginia, in the United States, to test and show you to demonstrate how we connect all the internet propositions. So the first one is, it's worth bearing in mind, a port roughly takes about a minute to deploy, so it's very rapid. I can create a connection here. So if I hit connection, and now I've got a full range of options of services that I'm able to deploy. So I can deploy it into the clouds. I can deploy to another device on the Megaport network or into another customer's device in the Megaport network. I can create internet. I can go to an IX exchange. I can go to the Megaport marketplace and select services from there, or I can enter a service key to allow me to partner to somebody else on the Megaport network. In this particular instance, we're interested in Megaport Internet, so I'm going to click on that. And here we have the local internet exchanges that are available to this particular port. So we have one in the same campus area, and as you can see, I'm in diversity zone blue here within the metro in this DC. So in fact, it makes a lot of sense to do some collaboration and use blue with blue and red with red, so that you've got some continuity in design. So I'm going to select the blue internet connection in Frankfurt. I'll click next, and there's some more interesting information that we're required. So the first thing is you can give it a name. We will auto populate this, but you can write that over with some naming convention we may have. You've also got your service level references, so that allows you some free text. So if you want to put a department code in, or if you want to put a PO number, you can add that as a service reference. And then the next thing is they're asking us about what speeds that we might want to do. So it's available between 20 and 100, 10 gig as standard. I'm going to pick in this particular instance a 1 gig service. So the next step is what VXC, so the link that connects me to the internet access router, do I want it enabled or shut down? And this is great if you're connecting or procuring this as a backup and have it pre-configured, or if you want to do any maintenance, then you're able to shut down the VXC without actually deleting it, which means you don't have to rebuild it again afterwards, but it just means that you're able to have the flexibility of testing, say, disaster recovery scenarios. The next step is that I can then select, I can leave it untagged, or I can tag it, and I can assign my own VLAN, or I can actually have it auto assigned. In this particular instance, I'm going to leave it to auto assign because there's nothing else on the port. And then I can have my contractual or my financial components, which is my offers on monthly different rates. So if I take no term, it's €204. And the longer term that I commit to this service, the more discount that I can acquire. So that's very useful in planning resources if you're going to have them for some time. And then I'm able to add API resource tags manually, so that's useful if you do any sorting using those tags. Next, I click next there. This gives me a summary of what I'm about to order. So that's 1 gig. It's going to be enabled VXC. I've added no VLAN IDs, and I'm doing it for a 12-month term. So let's just add that VXC. That goes over into my shopping cart on the left. I can review that order. So that then places a API call in to make sure that we can validate that service and that we can order it. And that has confirmed. So we're going to now order that service. So that's really quite simple. So while that's doing that, that just will take a couple of minutes. Next on to the MCR. The MCR typically will take 2 to 3 minutes to deploy on average. And I can create connection, Megaport internet. I've got red here, diversity zone. I'm going to pick something in the red diversity zone here because that just seems to be good network hygiene. I'm going to add a, let's go for 200 meg, something quite small there. I've got all the same fields, my name, my service levels, my VXC states, my contractual terms, my API tags. I can click next, add that service, gives me a summary of what I'm about to order, add that VXC, I review that order, and I order those services. So that's off it goes. Okay, so finally the MVE. This is configured as a Cisco MVE, but there are other ones available. There are Aviatrix, Checkpoint, Versa, VMware, there's Aruba, Palo Alto. There's a whole list of different MVE styles that we can support. So if you have a requirement for MVE, this particular one is Cisco, so this supports Catalyst SD-WAN and the autonomous C8K mode. So it's well worth knowing what you're going to do there. I'm going to create a connection here. I'm going to create Megaport Internet. I'm going to create a link in DC4. I'm going to, create that connection, just run down to next. I'm going to go through all the same fields again. I'm going to set 10 gig. Let's go 10 gig in Ashburn. I'm going to leave my AN. I'm going to assign a VLAN there in this particular instance. That VLAN is now available. I can add that tags. I can select my contract terms, all the usual things. Click next, add the VXC, review that order, and order that service now. So it's really that simple. So once that has deployed, I will go back and just look at the first one. So they're all pretty much going to give you the same sort of information, but on the first one, if we go to the VXC details, let's scroll along a couple of boxes. So here we go. So this is not yet come up, but it will come up shortly. So it gives some very useful information here. So automatically the automation process will give you your IP address allocation for your router on site. That will be your IPv4 allocation. Then you get your IPv6 allocation. And then it gives you gateway addresses for next hop and outbound traffic. So that's really useful information for configuring your devices on site. Okay, so I think we've done with the demo there. If I can just close that down. Okay, so next thing is, do we have any questions at this point? So let me just take a quick look. Um, so what are the maximum additional bandwidths you might support? So subject to business justification, 25 gig to 40 gig is usually supportable, and we can normally give confirmation overnight. For larger bandwidths, this may take a few days to confirm. And then the last one, in fact, this has come up before. Do you support 95th percentile billing? At this point in time, Megaport does not support 95th percentile billing. However, you can flex it. So you can take a commit on a contract term, and then you can flex the bandwidth up and down on a monthly basis for a delta that you might want to go above that committed rate. But that is something that you have to do prior to your anticipated bursts in bandwidth. So it's a pay for what you use, not for in that 95th percentile way. So, okay, so just to recap, the Megaport Internet Service allows your organization to have internet capability whilst requiring no upfront investment from just a minimum hourly term. It creates an instant point of presence in up to 16 countries, only requiring a small amount of configuration. It's available in 90 metro areas, and it's great for projects both short and long term. It's very easy to deploy with easy to follow documentation on our website. So I hope this has been useful. Please look out for other Megaport live sessions, as they are great sound bites to see what's evolving in the world of cloud and network connectivity. So until then, thank you and goodbye.